Australia plays host to the powerhouses of gymnastics as the world's best descend on Melbourne for the 2010 Pacific Rim Championships. The Aussies produced their best ever performances at the World Titles in London last year, and now the preparations are well underway for the Commonwealth Games later this year in Delhi and the Olympic Games in London as the search for Australia's first ever Olympic gymnastics medal continues. Hello and welcome to Hisense Arena in Melbourne for the 2010 Pacific Rim Gymnastics Championships. I'm Dan Ryan, your commentator, and joining me, as always, the voice of gymnastics in Australia, Liz Chekovich. Liz, the Australian team's been ravaged by injury for this competition, so it's a little bit disappointing.
Yeah, very disappointing. We're missing Lauren Mitchell. She's our star from last year's World Championships. 2 silver medals, a 4th all around. She was looking in great form. Unfortunately suffered a couple of injuries lately. And also missing some of our other Olympians from 2008, Dasha Jura, Ashley Brennan, the list goes on, unfortunately. So we're without our major senior team members this time.
We've got a very young team for this competition. Who are some of those girls that we should keep an eye on tonight, but also in the coming years approaching London?
Well, very excited about young Larissa Miller. She went to World Championships last year, came 7th on uneven bars, which is great for her debut, and she's performing again here on uneven bars, so she'll be very exciting to look at. Emily Little and Georgia Wheeler, they are going to look fantastic on floor and vault tonight, and we've got 3 superb young juniors, but all pretty inexperienced.
Well, it's certainly exciting to have some of the powerhouse nations here in Melbourne. What country should we be keeping a watchful eye on?
Well, USA are just all over everybody, I suppose. They just have magnificent depth. They've got the world number 1, world number 2 here, and their juniors are really terrific, strong programs, and I think they're going to basically blitz the opposition. However, China is also fantastic, and if the USA make mistakes, they're going to zip right in there and take that medal.
Thanks for that, Liz. Well, the Australian team competing here at the 2010 Pacific Rim Championships is a classic case of youth and experience, as David Colbert discovers.
Australian gymnastics has come a long way since the 1956 Olympic Games, where our gymnasts made their Olympic debut. Back then, our women's team trained on rudimentary equipment in the backyard of their coach, and they used the greens of the Royal Melbourne Golf Course to practice their floor routines, and there was certainly no lycra in their bloomers. Rapid progress in the 1990s and early this century delivered Australia's first World Championship medal when Phil Rizzo won high bar silver in 2001, before going on to win Australia's first and only World Championship gold in 2006. On the women's side, our girls stepped up to the podium, winning a team bronze in 2003 before the high water mark, Minette Russo's stunning world all-around bronze in Melbourne in 2005. Whilst the championship medal tally continues to grow, courtesy of a bronze from Pommel Prince Prashant Salathurai and 2 silver medals to Lauren Mitchell at last year's World Titles, an Olympic gymnastics medal remains elusive. That's the good news. The bad news is that Rizzo, Salathurai and Mitchell are all carrying minor ailments and are missing from the team to contest the titles, which means Australia will field a team made up largely of newcomers to the international scene in both the men's and women's competitions.
This is a brand new team, and so I've really tried not to put a lot of expectations on them. We're really focused on performance, focused on, they've all got new skills, and so I try not to put any pressure on them in that regard. But, you know, it's a new group. I certainly would like a successful outcome, so we'll see.
It is disappointing. It would have been a really good thing to have, hopefully our strongest team and the team that we'd like to take to Commonwealth Games and World Championships here this week. But it's not to be, and those guys will be, getting over their injuries and getting ready at home. And we'll do the best that we can here. Where this senior, more experienced guys aren't here, that opens the door for the younger guys, and that's really good. It's good to have a competition where there's juniors and seniors competing together. They can see what it's like in the big time, so it should be interesting.
Since its inception in 1984, the Pacific Rim Championships has grown into a major international competition involving the world powers of gymnastics. For nearly 30 years, the titles have been the breeding ground for the stars of the future, and this year will be no exception for the young Australian women's team. It's also the ideal preparation for the Commonwealth Games in Delhi and the World Championships in Rotterdam, the first qualifying event for London 2012.
You know, the changing of the guard always happens 2 years outside of an Olympic Games, and yeah, one of these girls could emerge as the next leader.
So the challenge is on for the young Australian team, but one thing is certain: the championships will inspire the next generation of young Australian gymnasts.
Well, throughout the competition, we'll be joined on the podium floor by NBC's gymnastics reporter Andrea Joyce. Andrea, welcome to Australia. It's fair to say we can expect some big things from the US women here in Melbourne.
Thanks, Dan. You know, the Americans sent a formidable team here to Melbourne, including the top 2 ranked gymnasts in the world. 2009 world all-around champion Bridget Sloan, along with the runner-up in that competition, Rebecca Bross. The team, however, will not be at full strength here, and that's because Bridget Sloan tweaked her right ankle in vault practice the very day that the Americans traveled to Australia.
Thank you for that, Andrea. Well, we look forward to hearing you throughout the competition, but we're just about ready for a start here, and we begin on the floor with one of our junior competitors, 15-year-old Georgia Rose Brown, representing Australia.
This is Georgia Rose's first competition internationally. A beautiful, elegant gymnast, quite tall really, and opening with a beautiful double tuck. All the gymnasts, of course, have to show at least one double salto in their routine, and that was that for Georgia.
Hometown girl from Victoria.
And a front full with a layout front afterwards. Double turn, well executed. Handspring double twist forwards. Of course, the front twisting is a little bit more difficult than back twisting to land. And closing with a clean double twist. And Georgia Rose showing a beautiful routine as the first up competitor for Australia.
Well, there you have it. The competition is underway here, the 2010 Pacific Rim Championships, and 15-year-old Georgia Rose Brown from Australia, Liz, a pretty solid performance to open the account for the Aussies.
Yes, it's always very nerve-wracking being the first up for your country, but I think she's done a brilliant job.
There's her score of 12.9, so a clean opening for the Australian team. We move on to the uneven bars from China, Lu Fang Wu. Let's see what she can do here.
Chinese absolutely renowned for their clean, uneven bar work. And I think we need to look at their handstand lines, their pirouetting work, always impeccable. One and a half pirouette into a very high Tkachev. Just hear her teammates in the background barracking for her, or maybe even coaching her. Who knows?
Certainly with a chance for a gold medal, the Chinese here in Melbourne.
And a clean routine to start for China. Of course, they're the reigning Olympic champions, Olympic team champion. Here we see that nice Tkachev.
And here's her score of a 14.5, so she starts the account for the Chinese extremely well. Back onto the floor now with another one of our juniors, Amelia McGrath from Australia.
This is one of Amelia's strongest apparatus. And she's also opening with a double tuck. The gymnasts are expected to land with feet together, no steps. That's a little bit of a new thing these days in gymnastics. They used to lunge out of those tumbles, but not anymore. 1.5, front half.
The floor, Liz, of course, is one of Amelia's favourite apparatus. Doing well so far here for Australia.
Yeah, she's got nice style. That's a double turn leg up. Pretty hard to do correctly. Handspring front foot and a little jump out of that. Here's a second double turn, different leg position, so she can be awarded different value for that one. Just about stepped out of the floor then.
Coming up to her final tumbling pass here, Amelia McGrath.
Clean double pike, just one step backwards, but not too much in the deduction area. Well done for McGrath.
Well, she's a hometown girl too, from Melbourne, putting on a show for her local fans, friends and family, no doubt. So proud to see her in the green and gold. And there's her score of a 13.3. So the highest score so far for the Australians on floor. Back now to the uneven bars for representing China, Xu Huang.
And that's an L grip endo, very hard to do. Beautiful full pirouette. Another one, combination work, impeccable, straight through to a nice Jaeger salto. One of the things the Chinese struggle with a bit is they're just so small, the transitions from low to high and high to low bars. Sometimes that's the weakest part of their routine. Strong double layout. Chinese love that dismount. Mostly see them doing that in preference to twisting, but here we see that L grip position, full pirouette, back into L grip and through to a Jaeger salto.
So the score for Huang of China, a 15.1. So of course China on the uneven bars in this rotation. Australia's Emily Little will be on the floor. She's one of our senior competitors, a dynamic competitor. Here she goes.
Little is a strong tumbler, and she's opening here with a nice full in back out, one step back. So probably her strength is in her tumbling, still developing her dance and presentation. It's come a long way, and a nice Arabian double front. Two strong tumbles to open.
Liz, with all the injuries in the Australian team, she's no doubt one of the leaders in this team, so we expect some big performances from her throughout tonight's competition.
Yeah, she's relatively inexperienced. She's only just a first-year senior. She's just been to the Paris World Cup a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see how she handles the pressure. Good combination line. A little short on a double turn. Gymnasts are required to have 8 major elements in each routine, and on floor they have to have a minimum counting 3 difficulties on dance. So it's hard for athletes like Emily, who are really stronger in the tumbling area.
Well, there you have it, Emily Little of Australia, the 16-year-old from Western Australia on the floor.
Nice to see good leg form during that full in back out.
And a 13.3, so again, another solid score from the Australians here. And scores after the first rotation, it's China leading the way. The Australians there sitting in 3rd place. The Americans, of course, with a bye in the first rotation. On to the all-around standings, and it's